What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the Pika Pika Papa, and today is Sunday Fun Day, which means we're going to be talking about the cards that have spiked the most in price on TCGPlayer over the last 7 days. And I love this video series so much because it really helps us keep a finger on the pulse of what is happening in the here and now. And that is why I absolutely love bringing this to you every single week. Now, one of the things that I think is most valuable about this channel, and I truly mean this with every fiber of my being, is that obviously, as you can tell, whenever I do content for you, I literally make a PowerPoint presentation for it and then I save it. I can't tell you how many gigs worth of PowerPoint presentations I have sitting on my computer at home. But the good thing about that is it allows me to go back in time. It allows me to look at different moments of the hobby, when things were hot, when things were cold. It allows me to look at different predictions that I made. Some were great, some were terrible, right? But that's all part of this, right? Listen, I make mistakes as a husband. I make mistakes as a father. I make mistakes as a leader at work. I make mistakes as a YouTube content creator, but that is all for naught if we don't take lessons from those mistakes. So what I do, and I always say this on the channel, is can we take lessons from the past and apply them to the present to give us some idea of what might happen in the future? And that is a big lead up to today's video, because what I'm going to be starting today's video off with is a look back at February. And the reason I want to look at February of this year is because that is really when we saw the Sword and Shield and the Scarlet and Violet era start to hit some pretty irrational highs right before the prices started to come back down. And we all know that after February, for a period of about 5 months, we saw Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet prices come down significantly. And the reason I want to do that look back today is because as Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield start to gain some momentum again, I want us to see some of the cards and how those prices were back then and what the prices are now. Because again, I care about you guys. I care about how you spend your money because I know how hard you work for it. And all I want to do is make sure we don't repeat some of these mistakes that all of us have made in the past. So with that being said, if you get into this video, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. We do this video every single Sunday and we do all kinds of fun stuff throughout the week, and I would love to have you as a member along the way. So with that out of the way, let's take a step in the Wayback Machine. So this is exactly what, and it used to be called the Movers and Shakers list on TCGPlayer, but this is what it looked like back in February of 2025. And as you can see, this is the very beginning of the month of February. And as you can see, the cards that are listed here are some of the ones that we're going to talk about. Now, when I talked about how Scarlet and Violet and some of these cards were hitting some really crazy numbers, like this is one of the ones that we highlighted back then. And I'm talking about, we saw illustration rares that for absolutely no reason whatsoever, we always talk about, hey, listen, I want cards that are attached to really big sets with really big name Pokemon and awesome artwork. And, you know, if you were collecting some of these cards back then because you love the artwork, good on you. But if you were buying them because you thought that you were getting the early access to some of these cards that were going to go on to be $50, $100 cards, man, look at some of these things that have happened. So this card, over the 3-month period in February, was up almost 500%, coming in at $25. Now, if we look, what has happened since then, it has lost significant value. It's down $15. You can see where that spike was because that was a 3-month graph. This is the 1-year graph. Again, we're just looking back to February, so the 1-year graph will encapsulate all of this. So look, big spike up right there. You can also see that light blue bar graph that represents sales volume. So you can see that there was a big buyout on TCGPlayer. This thing shot up. But even if you look to the right of that, look at the sales volume post big buyout. You see the sales volume was still really steady. So a lot of people were still buying this card all the way down. So as you can see, still a huge gain over 1 year, still up 229%. But if we were to buy this at the spike, man, there was some significant drop after that. Now, the next one is the same thing. Look at this, up to $48. It was up 114%. Look what has happened ever since. It worked its way back down, okay? And again, this whole thing is just to take some lessons as this market starts to heat up. I don't want us to repeat these same patterns because one of the cards we're going to look at here is doing exactly this. This is another one, and I've referenced this card a whole lot, but look at the way this thing spiked up. Again, pretty big buyout, up 52%, up to $46. And then when you look at it is today, it's at $29 right now. And again, you can just see that big spike with the buyout and then the way it's worked its way back down. And it's really been holding in the sub $30 space ever since. Now, the whole reason I did this really big lead in is because look at the Morpeko card right here. We are seeing almost the exact same thing happen. And again, this is an illustration rare. It's not from a big set. Like, no offense to Morpeko there, but that is not one of the biggest names in the entire Pokemon space. So what I don't want people to do, unless you're buying it for the artwork, because the artwork is awesome. Like, I really think this is a cool card. But if you love the artwork, I got a strong feeling that in the future, we're going to be able to get it at a totally different price point. So this card was on the list for the biggest price spikes on TCGPlayer, but I thought we should start start this video off with a little bit of a word of caution. Now, the next card is actually a card that has been spiking and has been featured on this list a couple times as of late. That's the Roaring Moon. Now, you know how much I absolutely love this set, and I think the Roaring Moon card is one of the absolute most beautiful cards that you could possibly get outside of the evolutions, right? Obviously, Prismatic Evolutions, just from top to bottom, has a whole bunch of really expensive cards, but Roaring Moon, when I'm looking at a card like this, the artwork is phenomenal. Roaring Moon had a big place, right, in the Scarlet and Violet era, but I've got to ask myself, in 5 to 10 years, are people going to still be interested in this card? Well, I don't know. I think it has to do with how Prismatic Evolutions continues to age, which I think will be very, very well. I think the fact that the pull rates are really bad. I think the fact that the gem rate is absolutely terrible for this set. I think the fact that the sealed product is going to be worth a ton of money as far as I'm concerned far into the future. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where this card ends up 5 years from now, because Roaring Moon, again, super popular Pokemon right now, but is it going to have kind of that stick-to-itiveness in order for it to still be a top of mind for long-term collectors and investors far into the future? We're just going to have to wait to see, but I can tell you this much, up 80% over the last 3 months, clipping the heels of $300 right now. That is an absolutely crazy jump from a very, very beautiful card, from a very, very popular and what I think is a very strong set with long-term price opportunities. Next thing we're talking about right here, and this is just Looney Tunes, and I'm sorry, like, I love Evolving Skies, I love Umbreon, but man, look at how much this card is appreciated. This card is almost $700, and we all know that the pull rates in Evolving Skies is abysmal. We all know that Evolving Skies is the big set of the Sword and Shield generation. Booster box prices are well over $2,000 right now. Obviously, the Moonbreon is the big chase card. This is the sister card to it, right? This is the Alt Art V, not the Alt Art V Max, which is the big chase card, but my gosh, look at how aggressive that has spiked up. And again, same pattern we see a lot on TCGPlayer. You see that bright blue line almost go straight up, and that is indicative of those bright blue bars shooting up as well, because somebody probably went on there and bought a ton of copies of this in order to drive that price up. Is it going to be able to maintain $700? I mean, Evolving Skies would have to break all of the record books in terms of the average price per top 20 cards. Like, we have been we've been keeping track of the top 20 cards from every set that has a booster box, from the XY, the Sun and Moon, the Sword and Shield, and the Scarlet and Violet generation. And if this set continues to do what it's going to do, it is just going to break all records in terms of the average price for those top 20 cards. So this is a very, very interesting one to keep an eye on. Again, up almost 376% over the last year. Look at the way this thing has just spiked as of late. I don't even know what to say. It's just absolutely crazy to think about. This was a $120 card, $140 card 1 year ago, and now knocking on the door of $700. It is just incredible the way the market is reacting to Evolving Skies. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about right here is a card that I've been a huge fan of for quite some time, and the Magikarp right here from Paldea Evolved. The artwork is stunning. The gem rate is terrible. I think Paldea Evolved as a whole, between the Tyranitar, the Raichu, this card right here, like, I just think Paldea Evolved as a whole is an awesome set. And again, that set has a very, very bright future for all of the reasons that I've said, but this Magikarp card has just continued to deliver pretty consistent gains. Yes, we see a big spike over the last week or so, hence why it made this list. But if you really look at how it's been performing over the last 3 months, it's been a steady terms of growth. So it's not just all coming from a single week. So this card finally breaks over the $400 price point. Again, it's just a stunning card. I've got it in a PSA 9. I was super fortunate and I pulled it very early on. And I have another one which is raw, and I haven't even submitted it yet, because back when this was $70, I just love the artwork so much. I don't think I'm gonna send it in. Probably not a PSA 10 or 9 worthy, but just really, really cool cards to have in the personal collection. And obviously with the price appreciation, and that's even why I bought it, to be honest with you. I bought it to begin with because I love the artwork. I never in a million years thought that it would jump up to be a $400 near mint raw card. So just absolutely crazy growth here from an incredible set with awesome art. Now, the final one that's going to be on the list this week is the Team Rocket's Mewtwo. And obviously this is from Destined Rivals, and obviously when you think about it, Destined Rivals is going to be the regular series set. By regular series, I mean a set that has a booster box, not a specialty set like 151 or you know, Prismatic Evolutions, but this is going to be the regular set of the Scarlet and Violet era. Booster boxes are already well north of $400, and you have the chase card right here at $500. And I mean, the life cycle for this is so incredibly short right now. It is just incredible to see these high prices for these brand new cards from these brand new sets, and the booster boxes sold out everywhere. everywhere. Just, we are living in such unique times right now, but it's a great time to be a long-term buy and hold collector, and it's a great time to be picking up things at MSRP if you're lucky enough to do so. And even with some products that are well over MSRP, I still think the way the supply and demand curve, as far as I think, I have no knowledge, I don't have a crystal ball or anything, the way that I think that is going to flush out over the next year, I still think even with some of these sky-high prices, there's some fantastic opportunities in the market right now. And when I see a card like this, man, it just gets me excited for the rest of the Mega Series, because we're going to see some incredible cards. And if this Team Rocket's Mewtwo is already at $520 out of the gate, I can't even imagine what some of these other cards are going to be like from the Mega Series when they hit the shelves. So with that being said, those are the cards that have spiked the most in price over the last 7 days. We had a very long lead in, but I do want everybody to remember that in the long run, the things that are going to matter are cards coming from great sets, cards with big name Pokemon at the very top, cards with incredible artwork. But at the end of the day, I always say, collect what makes you happy. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what happens from a price perspective over the long term. All I care about is you enjoying the hobby and having the most fun along the way. And if you made it to the end of the video, and if you had fun, hit that subscribe button or give us a thumbs up. Those two small things go a long way in helping my small channel out, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. All right, everybody, I will talk to you later. See you. Bye.